Hello friends, today we are going to study the topic that is adenoids. In the Walde's ring, there are three tonsils are present. One is a palatine tonsil. If it gets infected, it produces a tonsillitis that we have already studied. Another tonsil that is present in the pharynx, that is nasopharyngeal tonsil and lingual tonsil. So what is adenoid? It is a nasopharyngeal tonsil. So when the hypertrophied nasopharyngeal tonsil starts producing symptoms, that condition is referred as adenoids. The normal involution of the nasopharyngeal tonsil will start from the age of 10 years and usually it completes by the onset of puberty, or up to the age of 20 years it gets involuted. Now if you see the etiological factors, the first factor for the adenoids, that is age. It is commonly occurs in between the age of 3 to 7 years, or it may be present earlier also. Another factor is physiological factor. The nasopharyngeal tonsil is physiologically hypertrophied, but if it produces symptoms, then it is called as unhealthy and it requires treatment. Apart from that, the infection also produces the adenoids and it will lead to a production of symptoms. So non-specific infection supervenes in the hypertrophied adenoid and then symptom starts, or rarely tuberculosis also causes symptoms. Predisposing factors of the adenoids are similar to tonsillitis. We have already studied that there are endogenous factors like pre-existing upper respiratory tract infection or a post-nasal discharge in the case of sinusitis, or maybe general lowering of resistance or due to exanthemata, and the exogenous factors like ingestion of cold drink, cold food, contagion, pollution and crowded or ill ventilated environment, etc., that we have studied in the tonsillitis, that also are predisposing factors in the adenoids. Now coming to the clinical features of adenoids. Now this adenoids, when it gets hypertrophied and it leads to a production of symptoms, it can produce symptoms that can be grouped in the three varieties. One thing it can produce is it can cause obstruction. As the adenoids get hypertrophied, it can cause obstructive symptoms. So it can produce a nasal obstruction, it can produce a eustachian tube obstruction. Apart from that, the other symptoms that are associated with the infection and certain general symptoms. So let's see first the symptoms associated with the obstruction. In that, first is nasal obstruction. So as there is a nasal obstruction, it leads to a production of mouth breathing or snoring. There is also drooling of saliva from the mouth and difficulty in eating. So these are the obstructive symptoms. Another important feature, that is production of adenoid facies. Gradually the person who suffers from adenoids develop a adenoid facies. In this adenoid facies, the nose becomes pinched and very narrow because of lack of respiratory airflow. There will be a presence of chronic nasal discharge. The mouth will remain open, particularly at night. The teeth starts protruding and become irregular and crowded. You can see that in this picture the teeth are protruding outward. The lower jaw becomes undershot. Here you can see the lower jaw is undershot. There is a presence of high arch palate, and along with that there will be a drooling of saliva. The face will be expressionless. So this is the peculiar feature that is seen in the adenoid faces. The other important clinical features are chest. In the chest it becomes flat. There is combination, if there is a combination of rickets and nasal obstruction, then it will produce a pigeon chest and Harrison sulcus as a result of inspiratory dyspnea and soft chest. The voice will become soft and toneless, and that particular thing is called as rhinolaria clausa. Now the symptoms related to the eustachian tube obstruction. It leads to a middle ear diseases like eustachian catarrh, serous otitis media, acute otitis media or chronic otitis media. So due to the obstruction in the eustachian tube, these particular things can happen in cases of adenoid, and due to that the patient may develop symptoms of deafness and otorrhea. Now the symptoms related to the infection. So in the nose, due to infection there will be a purulent discharge from the nose. In the throat there is recurrent upper respiratory tract infection. Patient have post nasal discharge, pharyngitis, tonsillitis and cough. In the ear there is recurrent eustachian catarrh, acute otitis media, chronic otitis media and serous otitis media will be developed after the obstruction, and later on the infection develops. The lymphadenitis, upper deep cervical nodes and nodes in upper part of posterior triangle of neck gets infected. Bronchial asthma and bronchitis, if present, it will be aggravated in cases due to the adenoids. The other general symptoms that will be present in the children, there will be a nocturnal enuresis and night terror due to the suffocation. There is presence of mental backwardness. It is not real, but the child gets backward because there is presence of deafness. Now let's see how the diagnosis of adenoids can be done. So with the help of clinical features, in most of the cases the adenoids can be diagnosed. The posterior rhinoscopy also helps to visualize the adenoids with the help of rhinoscope. Digital palpation of nasopharynx may also detect adenoids, but the procedure is unpleasant. Another investigation, that is radiological examination. The lateral view of nasopharynx for soft tissue shadow, it will reveal the adenoids. Examination of adenoids under general anesthesia at the time of tonsillectomy can be easily carried out, and the adenoidectomy may be performed if the adenoids are hypertrophied. Now the differential diagnosis of adenoids. So we have to differentiate it with the nasal obstruction, causes of nasal obstruction. So you have to differentiate it with the rhinitis, sinusitis, enterochoanal polyp, deviated nasal septum, hypertrophic turbinates and allergy. benign tumor is a rare cause of the obstruction. The another differential diagnosis that should be with the orthodontic abnormality. In orthodontic abnormality, there is a high arch palate with protruding teeth, but in that nasal obstruction will not be present. Another differential diagnosis is Thornwald's disease. It is a cyst in the midline in the nasopharynx in an adult, which is thought to be a persistence of median furrow of adenoids. The treatment of adenoid is conservative or it can be surgical. In mild cases, conservative treatment may take care of adenoids and it is complemented by natural involution. So it can be done with the help of antibiotics where there is presence of acute inflammation, decongestants, it helps in re-establishment of breathing, general improvement of health and hygiene will also help, and the breathing exercise should be advised in the conservative treatment. The surgical treatment is adenoidectomy, where there is persistent or recurrent problems. In that case, adenoidectomy is advised. Antral lavage may be required for concurrent sinusitis. And another surgical procedure, that is a grommet, may have to be inserted in the eardrum of a patient having secretory otitis media. So it will help in the discharge, coming out of discharge. So this is you can see in the picture here, there is a presence of small button like, and there is a hole from which the discharge will come out, and that particular thing is called as use of grommet.